In 1930, 13 teams played in the first ever World Cup. In 1998, that became 32 and stayed there for nearly 30 years. On June 11, 2026, 48 teams kick off the most ambitious tournament in football history. But the number isn't even the biggest change. This is not just a bigger World Cup. The format has changed. The geography has changed. The path to the final has changed. And if you don't understand what's different, you won't fully understand what you're watching. This is everything you need to know. Let's start with the numbers because they're genuinely staggering. We have 48 teams. That's 16 more than any World Cup before it. 104 total matches. The previous record was 64. 39 days. The longest World Cup in history. 3 host nations, the United States, Canada, and Mexico. Never before has a World Cup been shared across 3 countries simultaneously. 16 venues spread across an entire continent, from Vancouver in the north to Guadalajara in the south. The venues themselves are extraordinary. In the United States, the NFL's biggest stadiums become football stadiums. A TNT Stadium in Dallas, SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles, Arrowhead in Kansas City. The opening match, Mexico versus South Africa, is played at the Estadio Azteca in Mexico City, a stadium that has hosted World Cup football before in 1970 and in 1986. The final is at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. Capacity 82,500. This World Cup is not just bigger, it is built differently from the ground up. Now the format, because this is where things get interesting. For the last 28 years, the World Cup ran on the same structure. 8 groups of 4 teams. Top 2 from each group go through. 16 teams in the knockout stage. Clean, simple, familiar. 2026 changes that. 12 groups of 4 teams. Each team still plays 3 group stage matches, but the advancement rules are different. The top 2 from each group advance automatically. That's 24 teams. Then the 8 best third-place teams across all 12 groups also advance. That brings the total to 32 teams. And that creates something entirely new, a round of 32. Before the round of 16 even begins, 32 teams play a knockout round. 1 loss and you go home. It's a stage that has never existed at a World Cup before. That means the path to the final now looks like this. Group stage. Round of 32, round of 16, quarterfinals, semifinals, and finally the grand final to win the World Cup. The previous record was 7. That stood for over 50 years. 8 matches, 8 nights, against the best teams on the planet. The format is more demanding, more complex, and more dramatic than anything we've seen before. Let's talk about what this actually means on the pitch. 8 matches, 39 days across 3 countries. 1 elite match every 4 to 5 days. And at the transition from group stage to knockouts, some teams get just 2 days rest. Squad depth is no longer optional. In Qatar 2022, the winner needed 7 games. Now it's 8. But it's not just 1 extra game. It's 1 extra game after thousands of miles of travel, against the best teams on the planet, with barely any time to recover. A team playing in Vancouver and then Dallas is covering over 1,700 miles between matches. A team going from Guadalajara to Boston is crossing almost the entire continent. This is not a compact tournament in a single city. The logistics alone will test every squad at a level they have never experienced before. Squad rotation becomes critical. A manager who relies on 13 or 14 players will be punished. Depth across every position isn't a luxury. It's a structural requirement. Aggressive high pressing is extraordinary, demanding over 8 matches. The teams with a flexible tactical identity, able to press high one game, drop into a compact block the next, will have the advantage. This will not simply be won by the best 11 players. It will be won by the best managed squad. Now let's talk about who's actually at this World Cup, because 48 teams doesn't just mean more matches. It means the world is finally fully represented. Africa goes from 5 teams to 9, Asia from 4 to 8. For the first time in history, Oceania is guaranteed a spot. 4 nations appear at a World Cup for the very first time. Cape Verde, Curacao, Jordan, Uzbekistan. These are not makeweights. These are nations that have waited decades for this moment. And in a 48-team World Cup, 1 upset, 1 perfect game, 1 night, that's all it takes. Before we talk about where football's going, let's remember where it's been. The last time a World Cup was played on Mexican soil was 1986. 1 man, 1 tournament. 1 moment that football never forgot. Diego Maradona lifted that trophy in Mexico City. The hand of God, the goal of the century, Argentina champions. 40 years later, Mexico hosts again. The Estadio Azteca, the same stadium, opens this tournament on June 11th. The ghosts are already there. The only question is who joins them. Pelé, Maradona, Ronaldinho, Messi. 4 names, 4 legends, 4 monuments that stopped the world. Every World Cup creates a legend, not just a great player. A player who makes an entire generation fall in love with football. 1 tournament, 1 stage. 1 name that echoes forever. In 2026, someone will step onto that stage. Someone no one is fully ready for yet. Who writes their name here? That's the 2026 World Cup, the format, the scale, the history, the stakes. On this channel, we don't just watch football. We break it down. Every system, every decision, every pattern that decides who wins and who goes home. Subscribe and hit the bell. 1 question before you go, drop it in the comments. Who writes their name in the Hall of Legends in 2026?